All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we are rewinding Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. When Puss in Boots discovers that his passion for adventure has taken its toll and he has burned through 8 of his 9 lives, he launches into an epic adventure and journey to restore them by finding the mythical last wish. This movie has a 95% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Hour 42, came out in 2022. I just want to say off the bat, it's only me and Andrew here today. Might be a shorter episode with it being an animated movie and just the two of us.
Yeah, we're gonna try and stretch it without this feeling like we're actually stretching it.
Yeah, I
we don't
mean,
want we don't
well,
want you to listen for no reason, but we're gonna try and talk about this as long as we can with still making it interesting.
yeah, and it is, I think, a movie. I mean, obviously, you just finished watching it, so I don't know for sure, but I think it's a movie we both enjoyed. I do want to say too, this is pretty cool. The way we do rewinds is, they're older movies technically, right? Movies that haven't come out within the current year that we're in. This is the first movie we're rewinding that has come out since we've started the podcast. So this came out December 2022. We started in June of the same year.
That's
so
actually kind of neat.
yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I'm like, this will be the first one. We just missed it, is what happened. I mean, December was a busy month for us. We were doing a lot of Christmas themed rewinds, and then we were doing, like Avatar came out, like a bunch of new.
And actually, I remember us like bringing it up as like a hey, maybe we should do this, because it was getting such good ratings, but we just kind of I think neglected it and like pushed it off. I mean, I think we got lucky, like you said in December. There's a lot of new content coming out. It's kind of I feel like we're moving into that same like path here. I was looking at like our stuff for September. We got so many shows and movies and stuff that are coming out that we're gonna have to throw on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID, like, obviously slowed down releases of things, and then now we're getting like a ton. I know we've talked about that before, and now who knows with the writer's strike, maybe that might delay things a little bit, and then drop a bunch of stuff at the same time. We might have this issue again in a year or two.
Yeah, which DreamWorks is also. I did not notice this until I don't know why until right now. Like when I watched this movie, it's a Comcast company. So basically, Comcast owns like half the world. Disney owns, maybe the other third, and Warner. Between those three companies, they've got it all.
Yeah, yeah, and this is. I want to preface this too. This is technically like a sequel, to the 2011 Puss in Boots, which mean really? It is a sequel. Yeah.
So I didn't know this was only. I mean, I just looked up right before we started recording this, and Josh and I were talking. I was pulling up the cast for this because I just watched it. And I was like, what? I was trying to pick like names to voices, and I wanted to look it up, and I had the 2011 movie pulled up at first on accident, but I didn't realize that there was nothing in between. It was the 2011. I mean,
I went 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm sure this movie might have been delayed a couple. Like I said, with COVID, maybe it was delayed a little bit.
That's true. But still, that's a pretty long gap, I feel like.
Yeah. Although, too, like, from the videos I was seeing on this movie, it seems like each actor recorded it in its own, like, booth. So they weren't, like, all in the same room together. So I guess you could do it with COVID still. But yeah, I don't know how all that works. So, maybe it was delayed.
Who knows?
And it's funny because we just did our last review was the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which is animated beautifully, similar to like Spider-Verse.
Shame I missed on that one. Listen to the review. I actually want to listen to it still.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. The thing is like what was cool about that, and Spider-Verse recently started doing it, I think, with the second film. The actors are in the same room, so like the way they did it with the kids in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they all had them in the same room, like riffing, and you can really notice that. I feel like
it's crazy to think that like animated movies haven't done that in the past.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they're still pretty awesome. The ones that we've gotten in the past from different studios and stuff like Pixar is kind of like top dog in my opinion. Everyone's got their
Hmm.
own opinion. But I think they're top dog. But like DreamWorks, Illumination, I'm sure I'm missing plenty more, but those are the other two that came to my
I
mind right
think
away.
there's Blue Skies too. Is that the Fox one? I think, which now Disney owns. Pretty sure that
Yes,
they
what
did
did
like
Blue?
Rio and all those movies.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
those are
but
okay.
Illumination's the big one right now with Pixar, obviously.
Yep.
And then there's
Yeah, they're
Disney too, which is its own
yeah. Disney
animated
does its
stuff.
own thing as well. But
Yeah.
no, solid movie. This one,
Well,
I
no, and two,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
the streak we're on right now, because like I said, we did the Mutant Mayhem, we're doing this, and then our next episode is the animated movie draft with a special guest. I think it's pretty cool that we're hitting some of these animated movies. Like I said, it sucks that we missed this one. I mean,
Yeah,
this year too, we've missed a couple. I mean, we missed Elemental, right? Which we'll eventually go back
I
on. We
know.
missed Air, which
I
isn't animated,
yeah.
but still. So
We
we'll have to go back
definitely
and
need.
hit some of that
We got to
stuff.
do Elemental. Why did we not?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we kind of just. I think there was like
the
too many
summer was
movies.
just insane. Yeah, every
Yeah,
Friday was something new.
something new.
And some of our episodes
And
too, we had to
originally
stack
that
and do two
and
things.
originally that movie was kind of wasn't it like flopping at first, and
Bombing.
then it did a
Yeah.
it did a complete 180.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
made like a $500 million or something eventually. So
yeah, so definitely one we want to cover and check out for sure. We'll get around to it. I wonder
it should be on
is
Disney Plus soon. I
okay.
assume
Yeah, once
within
it
the
hits
next couple
Disney,
weeks here, probably.
maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do. Although, is that a rewind at that point? I don't know.
I don't
Comment
know. Maybe
below.
we wait. I don't wait till 2024. No, I don't
comment
know.
comment on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll have to see. No, but it was funny because you texted me. I think like maybe 2 weeks ago. You were like, we need to add more like animated movies on there, and I'm like, dude, we got a whole like
I
little
know.
week and a half streak going of animated movies. We wanted to build up to, the animated movie draft, and obviously, with Mutant Mayhem coming out, which we were excited to see, and then with this, a really good animated movie that we had missed out on. It was like the perfect time to do this movie. I feel like, and who knows if it ends up in our draft or not? We'll have to see. Um, but yeah, I guess to talk about the movie, you know, obviously there's the Shrek verse, which is what I'm calling it. I'm sure other people do too.
The
Um,
Shrek multiverse.
yeah, we both grew up with it. I think the only movie I have not seen out of all these, because I think now there's six or seven. Six. There's six. Yeah, because they're gonna make a Shrek 5, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, there's four
It was
Shreks,
announced, I
and
think.
then the two Puss
The
in
two
Boots
of these.
movies.
Yeah, the only one I have not seen is the 2011 Puss in Boots.
Okay,
I
so
think
I have
Shrek
not.
4 came out the year before, like in 2010. So
Yeah,
they're pretty
so
close to each other.
I've not seen Puss in Boots 2011 or Shrek 4 actually.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's
I've
Shrek
seen.
Forever. It's called or something like that. I'm pretty
I
sure.
never saw that.
See, the third and fourth one I've only seen once,
Can
so
I?
maybe
Maybe
I
I
have to
can
give
get
them
a
another
couple
chance.
like consolation points because I saw the 4D experience at Universal Studios.
I
Maybe
did that too.
I
Yeah,
don't. I'm not sure. That was like a short, basically, and the chairs moved, and you're getting sprayed with water.
yeah.
And
I saw the
air. It was
SpongeBob thing
stupid.
too. Did you see that one?
I don't think I did. I
Yeah,
don't.
so SpongeBob like explodes and you get sprayed with water, and then
Oh,
there's like a pickle effect too, or something like that, where it smelled like pickles in the
those
theater.
rides
It's funny.
totally. Off on a tangent here. If you've never been to Universal Studios or you're a listener and you have kids and you are fortunate enough and are able to go there, definitely do it. Universal is awesome. Personally, I like it better than Disney. I'll probably get
Hmm.
some flack for that.
Well, so uh, to talk about this movie, I guess the only
Yeah.
things I knew going into it was its great reviews, which you mentioned,
hmm
and then obviously Antonio Banderas is in it, who plays Puss in Boots. But like
Yep.
besides that, I didn't know anything. Um, I want to say, I guess, just to talk about the art style of it, because it's unique, right? None of the Shrek movies are like this. Even the 2011 Puss in Boots movie was not like this. I went and looked. It's
No,
got his own art style.
I was actually curious about that. If 2011 had this similar animation style, where it almost looks like a brush painting. I feel like
Yeah,
is kind of a good way to describe it. I liked it. It was cool. It was different.
me too. Yeah, no, yeah, and that's the thing is like you get that like, I mean, Pixar does it great, and like even Illumination has it in a way where like it almost looks real. right?
Yeah, they've yeah, like I would say the Mario movie
Yeah,
and like Toy Story 4, the animation is so good that it looks real, which is cool. Like we've gotten to that level where now there's like shadows and there's reflections and there's all that kind of stuff. But also, it's cool to sometimes get a completely different style of animation, which is kind of like what we got here.
yeah,
I don't think it's like a cop out, like oh we we can't get to that level. I think it's we want to present the story in a little bit of a different way.
yeah, yeah, and a lot of people have been saying about like Mutant Mayhem taking inspiration from Spider Verse. I mean, they came out within 2 months of each other, the sequel and then
Are
the
they the
Mutant
same
Mayhem.
studio?
No, I think it's different studios. Yeah, it's different.
Hmm.
I don't think Sony
Okay.
did it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I could be wrong with that. Obviously,
All right.
this
No
though,
worries.
yeah, and I'm not sure when this came out if people were comparing it because Into the Spider Verse came out in 2018, so they could have taken inspiration from that movie to this easily. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, and two, Spider Verse has that like comic book feel, whereas this, like you just said, it's like the paintbrush kind of effect, which works because
Yeah.
this is like a fairy tale universe we're in. So it works great for this movie, and I'm curious now to see where they go from here. And like I said, we can mention that later, and if they'll keep that style going, I don't know. But I guess I never really saw the 2011 movie. I do remember it coming out. I never went and saw it just because I liked Shrek a lot, but it was like I don't know. It's a side character getting his own movie. I was like, I don't know.
It
You
felt
know,
I think it felt that had to have been right around the time too. I could be wrong. But is that right around the time too we got like a Cars 2, which
I think
was
so.
not very good. I'm going to just look it up
Yeah.
real quick so we don't look too
Well, too,
stupid here.
we were in that about to get
Cars 2
Avengers phase.
2011.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you nailed
Yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
right on the money in the year there, and that was also maybe that's what was going on in 2011. Sidekick movies with side characters. Um, although Puss in Boots wasn't even really like a Shrek sidekick. I'd say that was more Donkey. A
Yeah.
Donkey movie might have been interesting. Although maybe that would have played out exactly how Cars 2 did, which was probably, in my opinion, Pixar's flop movie.
Hmm.
That didn't do well, and maybe I don't know. I'd be curious to maybe go watch and look at the original Puss in Boots movie. Maybe it is pretty good. I don't know. This one held up. I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll rewatch it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So it's a little over 90 minutes. I think to give you an idea, the Mutant Mayhem movie, which we just
Mm-hmm.
did, was about 10 minutes longer, and it felt longer than this. Like this movie felt quicker to me, which I like that a
Okay.
lot. Um, and it was kind of weird because okay, so we get introduced to Selma Hayek's character, Kitty Softpaws, which I think great character. When she got introduced, I was like, oh shit, like they have a past. She was probably in that other movie, and I was
I
like,
thought the
I
same
should have
thing.
watched the other movie. I didn't think about it,
I thought the
you
same
know.
thing. I felt a little uninformed going into this, but you missed the part where we start off this movie, and Puss in Boots is trying to evade some sort of catastrophe per usual. It seems like that's kind of his thing, and
Hmm.
we quickly find out that he's on life 9 of 9. He's on the final standing here. That's all he's got left, and Wolf or Death is coming to meet him,
Yeah.
coming to visit. Coming to humble him, I'd say, as we kind of find out at the end of the movie, show him that he's not invincible. And I want to say that I actually thought the Wolf character. I mean, keep in mind, like I'm a mid-20s individual here now, or young 20s, low 20s. Um, Still, we're gonna call it that. Still in that group. I don't want to call myself mid quite yet.
Young adult.
Young adult. I thought Wolf was kind of scary. I thought
Yeah.
they did a good job. I thought they actually did
Yeah.
a good job. I was like, if I was a kid, like if I was an 8-year-old watching this movie, I would think Wolf is kind of creepy. And I think what they did a really good job with was whenever he came in, the whistle, that noise that he
Yeah,
had in the background, that little soundtrack that they played. I liked that. And
yeah,
Puss in
eerie.
Boots' hair stood up on his back and his arms. You know, he was spooked when
Yeah,
Wolf first showed up. I liked that a lot.
yeah, and I want to say too, I think the wolf character, the villain, is like one of the best villains out there in animated movies. I think he's up there with like Sid and Scar, like these classic villains that we think of when we think of or not horror movies, but animated movies. Because, like you said, he is scary. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when we get introduced to him for the first time. Yeah, it was really cool actually, and the design too, and the fact that he is a wolf, which is probably the scariest thing to a cat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a lot of layers there, and I think it's like you said with the whistle and everything. Yeah, it was awesome. And I don't know the fact that they called him Death, like it worked really well. And I want to say too that first fight against the, I don't think it had a name, but it was like the big giant thing, right?
Yeah, I don't
Right
remember
before he
what it
gets hit with the
was.
bell. That though, right off the gate, that's where you're like, oh shit, this movie's different than like the Shrek movies, like
Yep.
animated wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that fight was really cool, really cool. Great way to
Mm-hmm.
start a movie, I think.
Keeps you interested right away. This is like it's got its like it starts out with action. I like that. I think that's a good way to do an animated movie, in my opinion. Especially because kids are most likely the target audience for this.
Yeah,
So you grab them right away. You know, you're not dull start to this. You're, boom, right into something to really lock their attention in. I mean, I guess I have the attention span of a child sometimes too, so it worked for me as well. I locked into it and actually paid attention, which was good.
yeah. No, that's a great way to capture a kid's attention. Um, you know, I think yeah, like we said, like it and two, it just throws you into the world again. I feel like this fantasy type world, and really just hits the ground running. Um,
Yeah.
and the whole part with the doctor too, talking to him about him being on his ninth life, uh, and you know what I mean. It's almost like you know what it reminded me of? It was like a midlife crisis type thing where he's like this legend, who's great at what he does, and he's being told, you're kind of too old. You're kind of past your prime now. It's like
It's
maybe it's time to hang it up.
time to retire, Puss in Boots. But that was
Yeah,
the cool thing is like, so one, he didn't want to retire.
yeah,
There's that element of the movie that he's, this legend that doesn't want to retire. But
hmm,
even if he wanted to, when he thinks about it, and he starts and goes to try and be a normal cat and eat the cat food. Oh, who's that around the corner? Oh, there's Wolf. Oh, there's Death. He's
yeah.
ready. He's ready for you. It's like he can't, I feel like he still can't even get away, even when he wants to.
Yeah, and how realistic is that to the real world where you cannot run death? Like everyone
Yeah,
dies eventually. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Really
which
cool.
was which was cool, like I guess deeper meaning. I would say you kind of cruise through and we get introduced to the bears and is it Goldilocks,
It is.
which I actually like. There's like a couple different. It's a weird animated movie because it's a Puss in Boots movie, but like there's their own little subsections of it. Like the bears and Goldilocks was interesting in itself too, and you get that development towards the end of the movie that we'll talk
Hmm.
about here in a sec. But I liked them as well. The little bear combo and Goldilocks there. We get to see them and their kind of adventure to try and go and get this map to go get this wish as well, which is pretty cool to have them introduced.
Yeah, and I had no clue too that Goldilocks was Florence Pugh,
I didn't either
and
until I
then
looked up the cast after. I was like, the
yeah,
voice it rings a
yeah, it
bell, but I
sounds
don't.
familiar, but like, and then too, she's doing like an accent sort of thing too, obviously,
Yeah,
but and then too, Mama Bear sound familiar. It's Olivia Colman from Secret Invasion and The Bear season 2, which we recently both did those as well. So like hearing her
yeah,
voice, it was like a little familiar to me as well. Um, Yeah, no, the cast is great. Yeah, so yeah, they come and then too. You think like you said, they come to the house where Puss is retired and
Yeah.
being a normal cat, and yeah, you see the snout, and you think it's death. You're like, damn, like he can't outrun
Yeah.
this dude. And then yeah, it's the bears. I think that whole scene was really funny too, where they're just picking up cats. Like, is this it? Is this it? Really funny.
And
Um,
yeah, and they grab him and they're like, "Not it. That's does that look like a legend to you?"
yeah.
Literally got him in their
Uh,
hands.
and then too, we're introduced to Perito.
Yep.
Um, it's funny too because at first I thought earlier on in the movie they were saying burrito, but it's Purrito because he's pretending to be a cat. So that was really
Yeah.
funny. Um,
Per. Which I thought he was a good little like sidekick character that added some comedic relief. He's trying to. I mean, for our first interaction, like you said with him, is he's eating with the cats, and he's a dog,
yeah.
which is like, all right, this is gonna be like the goofball, sidekick character. But they did it. They did him well, where he's not cheesy.
Now their relationship, Puss in Boots and Perrito, did that not remind you of Shrek and Donkey?
It did a little bit,
Kind
and
of,
I
right?
think and I think that's why I said it didn't. It didn't feel cheesy. I liked it. He was kind of like a goofball, sort of an idiot, but he was still bringing value to the table. In my opinion,
Yeah,
like I liked his character. Could the movie have gone without him? Yeah, probably, but it would have lost that little extra comedy spice to it that I thought
yeah,
helped it out.
yeah. And I'm guessing, obviously, from a kid's point of view, they probably love that character also.
Oh, absolutely. Buy
Like, big fan of
toys
Perrito.
and
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a cute dog, right? So,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, like him saying, Puss saying like I work alone and trying to get him to stop following him. Like I'm like that's straight up Shrek and Donkey, which I
Shrek,
love. I
yeah.
think that worked well for the movie for sure. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we need. That dynamic there. So yeah, I really like that character a lot as well. Um, I believe the woman that owns all those cats is Mama Luna. I think that's the character's name. I forgot. She was funny.
I think
The
so. Yeah, I
piano and
don't
everything.
remember.
that
Yeah, I don't
that whole
remember
gag
her.
was funny.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. I don't remember her
She's like,
name
I
off
don't
the
own
top
any cats.
of my
Has like 200 of them.
They're just eating out of a trough.
Yeah, Puss in Boots
Jesus.
is like pissing in the sink and like making eggs and stuff like that.
I don't even know. I like
So
I
funny.
like how two Burritos like, oh my gosh, another talking cat.
Yeah.
That must not be
Funny.
very common, talking animals.
Yeah. Yeah, but then so Puss in Boots hears that they're on a quest for the the star, right? To make a
Yep.
wish. Um and they mentioned the Jack Horner character and that they're looking for Puss to go pull a heist to get it. The map, right? To
Yep.
the star. Uh I like that scene a lot. Going there, meeting him right away. I knew the Jack Horner character was John Mulaney, just because I think we will
I
both watched Big Mouth before, and I've watched
yeah.
his stand up. I'm a big fan of John Mulaney, so yeah. When I heard that voice, I knew instantly it was him.
It's cool to see him as a villain because in
Yeah,
Big Mouth, he's the I not I mean, I guess there's no villain in that show.
no,
But
they're
he's just like
hormones.
the goofball. So it's cool to see him kind of as a villain in this to a degree. I'd say you got two villains really, and then like the competing faction. You've got the Bears and Goldilocks as the competing faction, and then you've got Jack Horner and Death as or Wolf as the two villains of the movie with different agendas as well,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is kind of cool. It makes it a little more complex, more that Puss in Boots has got to look out for, but it works out well.
yeah. And
Like
his
bringing it all
office of all
together.
that stuff too is really cool.
Oh
All
yeah,
that
all
magic
the
stuff.
artifacts and stuff that he had in there.
Yeah, that was cool. And I don't know if I'm trying to remember if I remember his fairy tale or not. I want to say I do, but it's
I
not like a
don't.
more memorable one. Like the Goldilocks and the Bears obviously are very popular.
Yeah.
And they do the too hot, too cold, just right joke a few times.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe a few too many times, but yeah, they do
Yeah.
it. They sprinkle it in there if you didn't catch it somehow. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with what you said, and he was kind of a scary character because you didn't know what he was going to pull out of that bag, and Clearly, he didn't care about his men or anything else like that.
No,
So
I like as we move through the movie that he is just like a horrendous person. Like that's a good villain, especially for a
yeah,
kids movie, where he's just like, oh no, I don't. Yeah, I think the ethical bug or whatever that if that thing had a
Jiminy
name,
Cricket type thing.
yeah, was just like, oh, you don't seem to care about anyone, and he's like, yeah, you're finally catching on. like
I love
like
that.
that's a really cruel thing to say in a kids movie, and then just like flicks him off. He's like,
I'm
all
your
right,
conscience.
yeah,
Yeah.
see
No,
you
that
later.
whole gag was like the funniest part for me.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm just rambling scenes real quick. Thought I don't know why I thought it was funny, but there's a portion where Goldilocks and the bears like just break out into a quick dance and just
Yeah,
do like a circular dance. I was like, what is going on? I enjoyed that as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And then too, we do. That's when we get the Kitty Paws. We meet Kitty Paws in Jack
Yep.
Horner's office. Um, yeah, like I said, when we were introduced to her character, she's another one too. You hear it's like Selma Hayek. But that
Yep.
was the one where I was like, okay, so she was probably in the first one. I looked it up. She was.
Okay. So
So
we
clearly there
missed
is some
out.
connection there. Yeah, yeah, and I probably will go back and watch that first one now because I really did enjoy this movie. So, but yeah, I liked her character a lot as well.
No, she was a good addition, and they made I liked how, because obviously I did not see the first one, neither did you. I liked how they mentioned that they had a previous love in the past, and that they both kind of messed it up as we come to find out. You move through the movie, you find out like Puss in Boots is really sad about, or maybe not sad, but disappointed that he, kind of gave up on the wedding. Come to find out, she wasn't showing up either
Yeah,
because she thought he was too cocky. So, maybe him not showing up didn't really matter anyway.
yeah, saved himself a
But
little bit.
yeah, from the embarrassment. But we find out that, I liked how they're like, I don't know, I guess interest didn't feel forced.
No,
It felt a lot more like a friendship, a real deep like companionship, that maybe had a little bit of a bumpy road. Um
yeah, they're
and
both
and
similar
th-
too in the lack of trusting others and the way they go about life.
One thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this movie, that I should bring up now is this doesn't have any Hollywood box checking that I always like to mention that Disney
Yeah,
is famous for right now. They like to. There's nothing wrong with being inclusive, but it is how you do it. Make it
yes,
tasteful. And this movie, if it had it, I didn't even realize. So good job. If it didn't, that's unfortunate. Include it next time. Kind of hard when you have a movie about cats. Um, but
yeah,
Disney would have found a way. Sorry, and I like a lot of stuff that Disney does. Like I love, like I'm looking forward to I just sent the trailer earlier, like the Ahsoka show for on Disney Plus. Like I'm looking forward to that. But it
oh
seems
yeah,
like some of the stuff that Disney does, they box check. And this animated kids movie, I didn't notice it. It could be there, but it was if it is, it's hidden enough that they introduce it in the story and it feels natural as it should. It shouldn't,
yeah,
draw your attention away and go, "Oh, okay." You know,
yeah, and
not that
two, it's not all just goofy stuff either. It's just like it does deliver messages that are
a
really important to
message,
kids.
yeah.
Also,
And
yeah,
and another thing that I'll say they did good with this movie is when you do include, content like that. I'm not someone that's going to go protest or not watch or I'll
yeah,
still go watch the movie. It's not that deep to me, but I just feel like it's the execution that sucks sometimes. Like, come on, you could have done better. Um, where this movie, I didn't even if it's there, the execution was perfect. They may have not even included any content like that. I don't know, but
yeah,
no, I like to bring that up for any kind of animated movies we did because I remember the Mario movie did that really well as well. It
yeah,
didn't feel like there's any box Hollywood box checking.
yeah. No, I agree completely. Um, yeah, you really don't get a hit in the face with that like you do with some other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they get to that the mythical Last Wish area. I don't know if it had a name. I don't remember. But I like the. That's when too. That's part of the movie too, where it's like, wow, this animated style really helps this part of the
Yeah.
movie because it looked beautiful in there. Them touching the map, like each character and the world changing, was really cool. It was a great idea. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's more on the type of person you are and the wish you're looking to make and everything like that. Is what changes the environment of the place that they're in. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
I love how Paretos was so nice and kitty and friendly and everything like that because that's the character he is. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Just a overall just smiley, happy butterfly kind of person.
yeah.
Dog. No,
Um,
I thought that was a good detail as well, and that allowed, like you said, for them to really play with that art style. You got to see that with
yeah,
each individual thing, which is cool. Cool to see.
yeah. Because even when Goldilocks and the bears touch it too, it changes and everything like that.
Yeah.
And same with Jack. So yeah, so it changes in different ways. Thought that was really cool. Um, they start working through the map, different sections, and then this is too where we get introduced to like we were talking about with the Jack Horner character pulling stuff out of his bag. I love that gag.
Yeah.
He kept pulling out to the cookies. Remember the two
Mm-hmm.
cookies, and it was like do not eat or anything like
Yeah.
that, or whatever it said. And he pulled them out twice. Well, he grabs them from his office and he pulls them out again during that fight. And he puts them away. He's like, "I'll save that for later." It's like, okay, that's coming later. So
Yeah.
when he fell in
Which
the bag, I was like, wait,
I
when's that
kind of forget.
happening?
I kind of forgot, to be completely
Oh, okay.
honest. Once he fell in the bag, I forgot that the cookies were in there.
I was waiting because I love, like I said, I love the bag gag,
Yeah.
and clearly it's from other fantasy fairy tales type stuff. So like I was excited to see the more stuff out of it. Um, I should have put together that he would just become a giant, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't put it together. So yeah, so I was wondering about that. But yeah, and then the bears end up getting it. They go back to their house or their safe house with it. That's when Kitty and Puss have to break in to get it together. They steal it back. I love that too. Like the low gravity fight scene was really cool. That was another
No,
like
I
fight scene I really liked a lot.
it was something different. I was trying to look up maybe the fairy tale behind that so we didn't sound stupid, but I can't figure it out.
Maybe it's the beanstalk one.
That's what
Maybe.
I was thinking. That's what I was. I feel like that's a stretch, though.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to, and two, they're trying to not be too blatant with it. The Phoenix,
Yeah,
the Fire Phoenix too. Like I've heard of that one before, and obviously there's a ton, and even all the Shrek movies have a ton of them.
yeah,
Obviously that's the universe they live in, but yeah, and then so Puss gets stuck in this I guess it's like an ice type to check your reflections metaphor section on the map and
Infinity Gauntlet Reflection Center.
yeah, and then Kitty has to go back and save Perito. Uh, this part of the movie too. That I mean, I guess this is really when it start the third act. I'd say.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so too.
yeah, because he's reflecting on his past lives. All of them are different. They're showing his deaths, which we see earlier on in the movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they're trying to kind of tempt him. Hey, make the wish,
yeah,
and we're all back, and you can we can be all these great things. The legend, that's talked about, da da da, and he's kind of conflicted, and in between him trying to kind of figure life out. There's Wolf showing up,
yep,
ready to rock
yep,
stuff. Which I
yep,
really did like his. I really liked the villain in this. I mean, I did truly enjoy Wolf, because he comes in and for a second I kind of thought maybe these guys can break out of the ice, and this is going to be kind of like a big fight scene or something like that, or you know Puss and Boots will be able to get some of the knowledge or something. Maybe all these kind of give him something. Nope, he just comes in, crushes them all. Like doesn't even matter. And I think that makes him extra scary. Because he kind of comes in and shows Puss in Boots like, no, none of that matters. You are on last life, and I'm here to take care of business for you.
Yeah, and he like knows everything about him and all those past lives and everything like that. So
Yeah, that's when he
you know,
shows his like his dagger, and he's like, "Oh, you just you were basically too cocky. You didn't even realize I was there for every single one.
yeah,
You were too busy just moving on to the next thing, not realizing that I've been here all along." Um,
yeah.
Pretty
Well, and
spooky.
there's a ton of little Easter eggs too, and I'm sure on my movie trivia I'll mention a couple more. But like when he first meets Death at the bar, he's on his ninth like glass of milk or ninth shot of milk, like talking to him for his
Mm,
ninth life. Like there's so many little
nice.
things, and then like the on Wolf's face, he's kind of got like this white looking skull, so you can tell he's like Death. He does the coins on the eyes, which for Death. Like there's so many things before you actually figure out what he is, telling
Yeah.
you what he is. So, but yeah, like you
Which
mentioned with the scythe with the cats' faces on them was really cool.
yeah. No, definitely. And then from there, what does it? Does it go
Well, so
right
yeah, so
into
Kitty
the?
goes and saves Burrito.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
the roast that he has on them, where it's just like they bleep everything, hilarious. Love that scene too. That
Good,
would be great with
good.
kids.
Yeah, that's it. That was a good. I thought the same thing. I mean, I was like watching it, kind of folding laundry at that point, so I was right in front of my
Mm-hmm.
TV. But that like grabbed my full attention for a second. I was like, wait, what is going on here? Made me
Yeah,
made
it's
me do like a
genius.
double take. I was like, wait, am I still watching the kids movie here?
Yeah, just
Um,
roasting them.
which was a good little thing to throw in. That's a great way to do like I guess a more like I don't even know if you'd call it adult humor, but maybe like a super young kid isn't gonna notice that, but maybe like a I don't know grade school kid will find that very funny. I mean, I found it
Yeah,
kind of funny, and
yeah, I
I'm
found it
not
funny. Yeah, it's something for
so.
for an older crowd, I'd say. But yeah, and even as a kid, you still kind of understand that what he's saying is very inappropriate. But yeah, it's
Yep.
really funny. Um, and two, that's when, like you mentioned earlier, with the how there's different stories kind of going on in this movie, or different motivations behind these characters. It's kind of when you start seeing more about like Goldie kind of wanting more of an actual family, and like the bears or her and her brother aren't really getting along. You start really getting it more. I feel like in that scene, and then
Yeah.
obviously there's them walking when she tells them their wish. Because at this point, most people's wishes you really don't know yet.
Yeah. So I I'm not sure. Did you like when she shared her wish and the bear's response?
Yeah, because I felt like it worked for her character.
Mm-hmm.
Because throughout the movie that thus far, like she's kind of like bossing them around, like giving them orders, like they're henchmen,
Yeah.
and
So
not like they're a family and a team.
I actually truly like adored that scene
Yeah,
when she shares her wish, and basically the two baby bear and papa bear are maybe a little angry, a little upset, but mama bear is just like, nope, if that's what you want, boys, let's go get her wish. And I was just like, oh damn. Like
yeah, and that's what a mom would do. You know what I mean? Like that's
I
what's
was like,
heartbreaking about it.
oh. Like that was sad, but it was perfect, because the two boys were a little more like kind of I felt like just the little facial expressions and little oomphs they gave off was more of a pissed attitude and disappointed, where mama bear's like, no, if that's what she wants. She had already started walking.
Yeah,
She mama bear told that to the two boys and was just like, if that's what she wants, we're getting that for her. And
yeah,
I liked that because obviously we got to see, as we kind of move into the like, I guess you want to call it like the boss fight.
yeah. Literally, Boss Arena where they're on the star.
On the
Yeah,
star. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't miss anything before they get to the star, right?
no,
I'm
I don't
trying
believe
to.
so.
Okay, so yeah,
Anything
so
too big, yeah,
yeah, we're on the star, and we've got now all of the stories have come together. You've got the bears and Goldilocks want their piece of the wish. You've got Jack who wants his piece of the wish, and you've got Puss in Boots and Kitty. They're both there. They want their piece of the wish, and they're all basically going to try and fight and see what they can do. Who's going to get this wish? What's going to happen here? Right away, you see, the bears. Baby bear starts kind of floating away, and Goldilocks is right there. She's in front of the wish. She can make it happen. She decides, which I thought was a good redemption. That
Great.
is her family. The bears are her family, and she steps in last minute. I mean, as an adult, I kind of thought that was going to happen, but I didn't think it was off the table for the bears to just, because I didn't think that meant they died. I just figured that meant they were out of the arena, kind of esque thing.
Hmm.
So I didn't think it was off the table for Baby Bear to kind of disappear and the other two bears to disappear. But I was glad to see that Goldilocks stepped in, and grabbed Baby Bear and said, like, whatever. I forget what she said. You're the what? Do you know what she said? You're
Yeah, you were my
the
family the whole time, or something like that.
no. But
Uh,
right before that, she's got the corny little one-liner where she's like, "You were the push," and I was like, "Their game plan or whatever it
oh
was."
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which I liked that. Throw that back in there. That was a good little tasteful thing to have in there. Um,
nice little callback.
Jack Horner's, causing a ruckus. At that point, I think he ends up in the bag, correct? Man is in the.
Yeah, yeah. So he's in the bag, and then Death shows up.
Yeah. Ooh,
Now
Wolf is
that
here.
fight scene was sweet. Yeah, that fight scene was sweet. And then too, we can finally see that other characters can see him. Because I wasn't sure up to this point
I
because no one
thought
else
this.
had.
I thought the same thing too. Yeah, they all go, "Oh, what's that noise?" Or what? Ooh, what
Yeah,
is that? Yeah, what is that? And there's Puss in Boots is like, he's here for me. This one's personal. He's coming for my head. Um, which, yeah, no, that, Death kind of puts down the fire, and it's just those two in the ring, and the fight scene between those two and them both running at each other. Ooh wee, spooky and good,
yeah,
and the artwork, I think they made Wolf there look pretty menacing, and I liked that.
yeah,
And it was cool to see, Puss in Boots. This is where he, realizes, what, screw it, you know, I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm gonna take this and see where this gets me, because his, Death goes, oh, is your life flashing before your eyes? And I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was, but the good parts essentially were
hmm,
flashing before he realized, what, if this is where I go out, I got to kind of have my peace to a degree. I got to, say what I thought, and you know what, I got my friends back there, or at least the ones that matter right now. It'll
yeah,
be okay. And I think that's what kind of gave him the courage to, be like, you know what, I'm gonna take care of business. And they don't fight for too long until Death is just like, or Wolf is, just starts, I guess, losing his mind, just like, all right, I'm done. You know what? You're not scared of me anymore. I'll see you later.
yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, he says that I'm not a metaphor of death, and saying it was like his little speech, but like, it's hard not to make that connection. And you're
Yeah.
right. Like he stops running from death. He accepts his fate, and he's going to fight for what he cares about, which is his friends and what he sees as his family. So yeah, so I love that scene too. That whole see, and I thought that would be the big fight. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, beats him. He leaves, and then that's when Jack Horner eats those cookies. Comes out, he's huge, and this is like the big fight, I guess. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought of that, but yeah, I figured the death fight would be the big fight because he's like
So
kind of
did
the
I
big bad.
actually.
Yeah,
Which I feel like I kind of like didn't care when Jack Horner came out. Like, I didn't
yeah,
care anymore. I was like, oh, Puss in Boots ain't afraid of death anymore. Like, it's no big thing now. Like, who do you even think you are?
yeah. And at that
Um,
point, no one really wants the wish anymore either.
yeah,
The Bears don't want it. Goldie doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. No one wants it. So I guess I got to prevent him from having it because things could get pretty bad. And
yeah,
that's where they're like actual heroes, not trying to be selfish for their own needs. They're
yep.
stopping what could be harmful to everyone else, which is
Good,
cool.
good,
I do like that
good
aspect.
story. Good,
Yeah,
like kid story.
yeah, doing the right thing.
Yes,
But yeah,
agreed.
that fight scene was great. Perito was MVP in that fight. I'd say distracting
Of
him.
course.
He goes, "Your nose is bleeding." That was really funny. Uh, God, maybe Burrito is my favorite. And I'm not even a kid.
I
Uh,
guess not.
yeah, so that whole fight scene comes to an end, and I guess what did you think of the ending where they decide to be kind of a little family? They steal a boat. Um, we see a
Oh,
little teaser.
you mean the ending where we see the where they're going?
Yeah, dude, they're on the boat, and before like it pans over to show where they're going, you start hearing like the Shrek music. And you're
So
like, oh,
I
like I got
had
chills instantly.
actually I'd seen that clip of
Oh,
that.
really? Okay, I did not. I didn't
I
know
knew
that.
that that was the one thing in this movie that I knew about. I saw it on like YouTube Shorts or
Ah,
TikTok or something
well, because I knew we were getting
a
another
couple
Shrek,
months
obviously, but I
ago.
didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to tie into the end of this or not. I didn't
That
know.
was the one. That was the one thing that I saw, which I kind of wish I. I don't know how. It just popped up. I think it was oh my gosh, we're getting Shrek 5. Look at what was in
Mm,
Puss in Boots. So I did actually know that was coming. That was the only thing that I knew, but it was still cool to see because yeah, like you said, the music starts playing that you've heard. That iconic music for Shrek. Um, man, just such good movies.
yeah, going to
And
far,
this,
far away, going to
yeah,
visit some old friends. He says, "Oh, what a great
yeah,
way to end a movie. That's a way to build hype."
yeah. Build, yeah, because what that did was Puss in Boots. I felt like that scene doesn't take away from the movie itself. Like, you don't watch that and just go, "Oh man, Shrek 5." Like, you still enjoyed that movie in itself. Like, it was good, and it's cool to see it, progress in a way that it had resolution. It's not, a to be continued
Yeah,
like we
cliffhanger.
got with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
It's not like that. It ends out the story, and it gives you, they literally are sailing away into the next direction. Great way to end it. I like that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely great. And yeah, too, I wonder like I feel like Shrek 5 has to have the same animation all the other Shreks have had, but like with this movie being so popular with its art style and everything, I don't know. It's kind of hard to go
I hope
back, but maybe that's
so.
his thing. I don't know.
I don't want Shrek to do this art style. I want it to do the
Okay,
traditional
I
what
think I
they've
agree.
done, but just, obviously we're in whenever that's coming out, the
Could be 5 years
animation,
from now.
yeah, is going to be amplified way up,
Yeah,
probably going to be almost live action esque looking, with how far animation will come in the next couple of years and where it's gotten where we're at now. So I
yeah, and
hope it's that style and not the paintbrush. Will I still watch it? Yeah, of course.
of course, yeah, and I do appreciate too. We get that like quick glimpse of Shrek and Donkey and him walking when his life's flashing before his eyes. You
Yeah.
see Pinocchio for a second. You see
Yeah.
um, Gingerbread Man. You see him all. Gingy
Per
himself. Like, yeah,
typical like movie nowadays. Gotta have the quick cameos. That
yes,
I
yes, it
feel
definitely is
I
guilty of
feel
that.
like that is definitely like part of the recipe of any sequel or prequel nowadays. It's like, all right, make sure you have a cameo in it. Whatever it
Yeah,
may be, just throw a cameo in.
yeah. That's got to be on the checklist too. I feel like for these movies in a
But I
franchise, at
but I
least.
like it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we're guilty of loving it and getting
yeah,
excited
it's
for
a guilty
cameos. So,
pleasure.
but yeah, let's get into the movie trivia, and then we'll give our scores here.
Okay.
During the montage where Big Jack Horner assembles his baker's dozen, the horses pulling the carriage were actually unicorns whose horns were cut off.
Oh,
You see those horns in his office. Kind of sad. Cruelty. Guy's
yeah.
evil. The location of Goldie's true family is hidden in the first letter of each line in her favorite. Sorry, let me restart that. The location of Goldie's true family is hidden in the first letter of each line in her favorite fairy tale. It spells out "You already have it."
Oh wow.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's another one of those Easter eggs. It's kind of a tongue twister there. In the fight with the giant during the sweeping crowd shots, one can find the wolf in a shadowed alley when the townspeople are doing the wave. So he's just hidden
Mm,
right at the beginning. You don't even notice.
good little touch.
The film employs a stylized animation similar to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Bad Guys from 2022, and the filmmakers decided to move away from the realistic animation style that was employed in Shrek and Puss in Boots 2011 in favor to be more creative, larger-than-life style to showcase Puss in Boots' adventure. Like we said, I think that works great for this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
that worked out well.
yeah. Goldilocks' dress starts off blue and multicolored, and then eventually changes to brown to symbolize her character's arc as she starts to fit in and accept her bear family. Really cool.
Very cool. Did not even
Uh,
notice it.
yeah. When the wolf reveals his intentions at first appearance, I mentioned this earlier, Puss was drinking his ninth cup while the rest were on the table. Nice little Easter egg. During the fight with the giant, Puss is flung into a baker store sign, freezing the image before it hits. It shows Jack Horner's bakery, foreshadowing his presence in the film later. Jack
Very
Horner's
cool.
death. Yep, Jack Horner's death is a homage to Terminator 2, except his thumb points down instead of up. Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever
Interesting.
seen the movie,
I've
but when
I've not.
Terminator dies, yeah, so Terminator dies, he goes into like lava, and his thumb
Uh-huh.
is like pointed up when he goes
Oh,
down, like it's
okay.
okay. So in this, it was pointed down. I did notice that, and I was like, "Is that a Terminator 2 gag?" So it was funny that I saw it on there. So I wanted to
That's
mention that one
interesting.
last. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Good
But
little
yeah, that was my movie trivia.
good little amount of details,
There's a
attention to
lot for this.
detail
Yeah,
that
and
they
there's so
threw in
much
there.
more Easter eggs too that I missed. But yeah, they're all over the place in this movie, which is cool. It's great to do that with an
Um,
animated movie.
yeah. You want to get into scores here?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So to just kind of mention it, I thought the music worked really well. The score for this movie, I think, worked great. Obviously, the animation style. Each character was someone you could root for and see, where they're coming from, maybe outside of Jack and Death. But you still enjoyed having those characters there. I don't think the movie was too cluttered with the two villains because they're kind of completely two different things, right? But yeah, I think the movie had heart. It was sensitive in certain parts. It delivered the message very well. Um, and for it to be a kids movie where it's tackling the idea of death and trying to outrun it, I think it speaks volumes. And that's something too where like an adult can watch it and be like, damn, like taken back by it a little bit. So, which I definitely was. Um, I could definitely see why this got good reviews, and the fact too that this is the first. I think this is the first rewind where the only people on there I've only seen it once. Usually, when we rewind a movie, we've seen it a
Yeah,
couple
it's true.
times or someone's recommended it. But this, like Andrew said, people are saying it's so good that we need to check it out. But I'm going to go with the 93. I really enjoyed it. I definitely can see this being a movie I watch again. To rank it with my Shrek movies really quick, I think if I had to do a top three, I think I would do Shrek 2 still, and
Yeah.
then this one would be closely behind, and then Shrek 1 would be closely behind that. I think that's how it is. That's just my personal opinion. Shrek 2 like holds like a place in my heart, and that might be nostalgia. I mean, I've seen both the first two Shreks like 100 times. So like,
Why 2/1 for you?
2/1, I enjoyed the story more. I liked Far Far Away more. I really liked like Fiona's character a lot more in that movie. That's when we're introduced to Puss in Boots. I love the third act of that movie is probably one of my favorite third acts out there for animated movies. Like them trying to raid the castle and the
Yeah.
song and everything like that, and Big Gingy, like it was so awesome. And then they got like the cops thing
Yeah.
where they're like trying to chase down the horse and everything. Love, like there's just so much shit in that movie I absolutely love and adore, and that movie has messages too. Um, you know, the Fairy Oddmother or Fairly Godmother, whatever her name is. But yeah, she's like a good villain too. She doesn't hold up to death. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's a close second, and then yeah, Shrek 1 because that's like an iconic story, close third. So love all three of those movies a lot. And then there's a big drop off,
Gotcha.
but yeah,
Yeah, there is. Um, that's fair. I'm gonna follow up very very closely, and go with a 90 out of 100
okay,
on this one. Um, I think it's in that group of movies where it's definitely worth checking out at least once. I'd be curious to know if maybe I bumped it up a little bit more. If I had watched the first one, I feel like maybe I missed out just on a little bit, not a ton. The art style in this unique, which was cool to see. I mean, it looks like it grabbed some inspiration from other things, but it was unique to this kind of the Shrek verse, you can call it, which was cool to see. I liked all the voice actors that they chose in this movie. As I praised before, I thought Wolf as the villain was really good, really well executed for a kids movie. Me to be like older and think like, oh wow, kind of spooky. You have to be pretty good with like, I would say the design of the character, like the art, and also like his motives and stuff like that. Like the idea of Puss on his like final life here. It's kind of scary. So I feel good with a 90 on this one. If I were to rank Shrek movies, I would go. For me personally, I have to give the first one my number one spot for me. So I would go 1, 2, Puss in Boots, 3. I never saw 4. That's how the rank is going.
Okay. Yeah, no,
So I
that's
would
fair,
go.
and that's probably
I'd go.
outside of. I mean, outside of your top three, that's how mine would fall too.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, no,
yeah, no,
definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen this one. I would give it my recommendation right now. It's on Netflix. That's also another reason that we did it. So if you've got a Netflix subscription still, uh, check out Puss in Boots. Even if you just listen to this whole thing and haven't seen it, check it out.
yeah, because I
Worth
think I
worth the
think
watch.
originally we were planning on doing it earlier on. I think we were planning on doing it in July, and then I think me or you looked it up and it was like, oh, it's coming to Netflix at the beginning of August, and it's in the top 10 right now as we're recording it. So I
Yeah,
think it was a great time to cover this movie, and like we said, we missed it. So, um, and we'll see where it falls on our animated movie draft, which will come out Friday. We're really excited for that.
looking forward to
Um,
that one.
but yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.